It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and piercer talk about some of the more common questions we get asked by those that collect tattoos and then piercings. Brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo and the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. Well, we got the usual crew, the full crew, the motley crew, the wrecking crew, the I don't know, the cruising crew. I don't know what. Someday I'll come up with something clever. Including Jimmy St. John here, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. Right next to me is Jack Lowe, owner and tattoo artist. They're at the Skin Kitchen. I'm DaVo. I pierce and I own Axiom Body Piercing. And then over here is Brent Starr, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how tattooing, piercing, body art basically in general changed your life.
Well, little old ladies run off the elevators and clutch their purse every time I get on it. No, I'm just kidding.
I could be an extra in a Hollywood film now.
I look cool.
Let's start with you, Brent.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I would probably be dead. Yeah, I think...
He'd be decorating cakes somewhere.
You know, it's funny because I've worked in a lot of kitchens over the years, and this is by far the coolest one. I you know, if I managed to survive, I probably would be cooking. I imagine maybe in a kitchen. I like to cook. It's a lot of fun.
Chef Star.
Yeah, but yeah,
seriously
though, if I hadn't found tattooing, that kind of slowed me down just a little bit and kind of put me in a place where I was a little bit more grounded, I think. So where, I could survive.
So you'd be more of an adult?
Yeah, kind of, believe it or not, even though I'm like, 10 most days inside.
That's interesting.
To become an adulter?
No, it's just...
To do some adulting?
Well, yeah.
Let's not get carried away.
It did. Yeah, I'd say with just like how I was going at that time, just partying and stuff and... kind of just living life like, I was going to, die the next day, which I guess I still kind of live like that, but...
not as bad, not as aggressively.
Not nearly as aggressively, yeah. So I think it kind of actually put me in a better place, not just, career-wise, I'm super happy, but yeah, I don't think I was very happy then.
Yeah. It gave you something to live for.
Yes.
Purpose.
So, purpose that wasn't going to be like...
Tattoos make me grow.
Next party is.
Absolutely. It's made me grow.
Yeah.
I was way more irresponsible and immature before I started tattooing, believe it or not.
Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I did a lot of mechanicking and construction work when I was young, which was I was always seeking, I hung steel and stuff like that. I was a connector. I was the guy that rode the beams and climbed columns and all that stuff. I pushed the limits, see what I could do and what I couldn't. But later I got into before I found tattooing, I was an adult entertainment DJ.
Yeah.
Ranked in the top 10 in the country. And I worked in Vegas and these huge clubs and stuff. And, just with all the atmosphere and the indulgences that come along with that life, I would 99.9% say if it wasn't for tattooing, I'd probably be dead by now. I'd be somewhere I'd be planted. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, how do you,
out.
so it was a positive thing, but
absolutely.
What specifically do you think?
It grounded me. It gave me purpose. Feeling like I was doing something more that I was meant to do, instead of I'm just an ant. I get up and I go follow the line every day with everybody else because that's what we're supposed to do.
Learning more of a skill and an art.
Learning a profession, a skill. And at first, for the longest time, I wouldn't call myself a tattoo artist. I would call myself a tattooer because I never felt that I was an artist. When I thought artist, I thought Michelangelo or Rembrandt or Norman Rockwell or.
I think a lot of people were in that same way thinking back then.
Yeah, and then by tattooing, I felt wow, what a real I guess, for lack of better terms, cheap way to call to associate yourself as an artist, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're not developing a comic book. You're not making a cartoon for kids to enjoy. You're not illustrating books that people are going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have people that write pop songs.
Right.
Or don't even write them, they perform them.
Well, that's their thing. That's what their purpose is, to entertain.
That's forgotten about 2 years later.
Yeah.
that call themselves artists.
Well, I mean, that's on them.
You know, like,
But that's how I felt about it. And,
Yeah,
you know,
I
it
get
took me
that.
a long time to like, you know, and a customer said something to me one time, a good friend of mine. He said, dude, like if somebody comes in with a picture of like the Sistine Chapel, the creation of man, I want that tattooed on me. You have to replicate that masterpiece, that piece of art that's, you know, world known and recognized. You have to do that with a vibrating brick on a canvas that's not flat, that does not sit still. It moves, it complains, it's living.
It bleeds.
It bleeds. It, you know, all these other variations to the canvas that don't really want it to be what you're trying to make it into. And like, you know, if you don't consider that art, like, man, are you serious? And I was like, wow, I guess when you put it like that, like I have to reproduce Michelangelo, Rembrandt, you know, Norman Rockwell, or, you know, Geiger. I have to reproduce these masters on a way more complicated canvas than actually what they did it on.
It's a very difficult
like it's
medium.
it's very difficult, and it's it's a lot of challenge.
So instead of sitting in a quiet studio with perfect lighting, you're out there on a roller coaster trying to paint a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's basically enough.
Absolutely. You know.
Well, I think it's how when you think artist, you know, what does that encompass? You know, to my mind, I'm almost the other way. I think artist is such an overused term and covers such a wide swath of things that, you know, it's a very loose word, I guess, to me. Mm-hmm. The important thing, or the thing that really made me kind of realize and think, you know, I'm an artist, I guess I can call myself an artist, is that, and this isn't the definition, but in my mind, like you kind of had that idea of what artist was, is I'm making a living by producing art.
Yeah, you're a professional.
You know, so
very humbling.
There's a lot of people that, you know, create art, they draw, they paint, they sculpt, they do whatever, but that's a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, they're not a career artist or making they're not, you know, under their name, it doesn't say John Smith artist, you know, it says John Smith, diesel mechanic,
right,
or whatever. And they like to do art and mess with their cars and, you know, do whatever. So I guess I felt that I could consider myself an artist, whether someone else looked at the type of art I make qualifies or not. I guess to me, you know, that's what kind of made me feel justified, I guess, in my own head to say, yeah, I'm an artist.
That's cool.
You know, it might be lowbrow art to you or you know, something incredible to someone else, but for me, that's kind of
that's awesome.
You know,
and that's a level of empowerment that you're not going to get as a hobbyist.
Absolutely.
Right. It's a profession. It's who you are. It's what you identify.
It defines you.
Yeah. It's your purpose kind of thing. It's, you know, who you are and what you do. And, but again, you know, so many people identify with that artist term that when someone says it, it's anybody's guess what
what they mean.
What they think that means. They probably think it means like it. When most people say it, like, oh, so you like to draw and stuff,
right?
You know,
dude. For years, my dad used to do that. He would call me up. I'm like, I've traveled to other countries and tattooed. I've done magazines and all this like fortunate stuff that I got to experience young and earlier in my career. And up until probably 3 or 4 years ago, my dad would call me and go, hey, you know, like I got a newspaper here for you and I circled a bunch of jobs that you might like, you know, are you still drawing on people? I'm like, yeah, well, are you going to get a real job? I'm like, I make twice as much money as you do working in the foundry, Dad. Like, what do you mean? I have a career too, you know? Yeah. But like, I even wrestled with that problem even now, like with the social media and things coming out, and like some of the level of art that some of the guys are putting out right now, the Nico Hurtados and the Stefans and Jack Conleys, and dude, they're doing stuff that just blows me away. It blows me away almost more than like, I'm a big fan of Renaissance art. Yeah. Like Michelangelo is one of my favorites. The stuff that he did was amazing, incredible. but the stuff that they're doing on skin is as equally or more incredible to me how they're doing that and achieving it than that was. And so like I again felt that, can I really call myself a tattoo artist?
Right.
Because like if that dude's in my class and we're both tattoo artists, like there's a big spectrum of tattoo artists.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a fine line between that makes me want to quit or it makes me want to try harder.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, it depends on my mood
yeah.
of the day. And it usually happens when I'm. I got done with a piece that I really feel good about, and I thought that I did well on it, and
then you start seeing that.
and
stuff.
then you open up your Instagram and you see one of these artists, and there's so many of them out there. That
and
just,
instantly you feel like you began.
and
You're a
you feel
beginner.
like,
like crap.
It's inspiring and humbling all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's, it's crushing and like, yeah, you're just like, oh
And-
man, I got to do better. I got to learn
Always.
how they did that.
and at the same time, it reminds me of a conversation that I had with my brother when he was doing music. He was in a band and stuff, and I think that was when I was running lights and stuff for him. So I was traveling with him, and the band that went on before him, the guy had this incredible like 80s metal hairband voice that could just hit all these crazy notes and hold them out, and was doing his thing. And Jerry was standing there watching him, and he's like, "What? I'm not a singer. I can't do that." Like, he was having that. I'm not an artist. That I can't do what he can do. But what I told my brother, I go, but he can't do what you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
He can't sound like you if he wanted to. You can't sound like him if you wanted to.
That's
So-
what makes you so awesome.
Yeah, so you can't hold yourself to someone else's standard, because who knows? Maybe that's the only tattoo they can do.
Right.
Maybe you do a black and gray or a fine line thing where they look at that and go, "There's no way I even
Right.
want to touch it."
Right.
So we tend to put a lot of pressure on ourselves, I think, and that's just something I have to remind myself. There's a lot you can learn from just overall concept, how it fit the body, colors they use together. There's so much more to learn other than to tell yourself, well, I can't do that.
But that's such a good and healthy way to look at it. Like
Yeah.
you're saying,
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he's the captain here. Because he keeps, he pulls us back to reality every once in a while. We're like, geez, dude, I don't even know. I don't even think I can really tattoo. I think I need to go through an apprenticeship again. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
So do you ever pull up like old photos of old tattoos? And
absolutely. To
Oh,
make myself feel better.
Oh well,
Absolutely.
fuck. Okay.
That's really a good thing to do too,
It
because
is.
because you have to remember there was a time where you were just so super proud of that, and now you're looking at it several years later and go, you can just pick it apart.
Yeah.
That's why
which-
perception's always great.
Yeah, which should make you feel good that you've advanced and you're getting better.
Yeah.
But it should also remind you, okay, just like now, when I look at a piece,
Doesn't mean it's the best.
There's a
in
future.
5 years,
Yeah.
when
I
I
can do
look
better,
back,
too.
I'm
Right.
gonna so that's why it's good to remember that, because it's always gonna keep
Yeah.
you pushing. You're not gonna get, oh well, I made it.
Yeah. Now, if you
No,
did an Eagles
you
hit-
thought you were as good as you could get 5 years ago,
Right.
And now you
Exactly,
pick it
now
apart.
you're
So
better.
yeah. So,
Now, if you pull up a picture and like you've been tattooing 3 years and you did an Eagles head, and you've been tattooing 15 years and that other Eagles head, and when you compare them, they're kind of the same. You need to reevaluate what you're doing. Because you're not progressing for whatever reason. Yeah. You need to challenge yourself a little bit. You need to push.
if
you
you're
need to
getting
try to improve.
if you're getting bored with tattooing or burnout, it's because you're not trying anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go out and seek something that kind of revitalizes you and
Inspires
recharges you. It excites you. It motivates that
Charges-
creativity in you. Yeah.
I call it recharging your batteries.
Exactly.
And I would do
It
that.
motivates you.
I did that a couple times because the first time I did it, I didn't realize that's what I needed. But I was kind of burnt out, and things were getting mundane. I didn't feel challenged. I felt just very, repetitious. And ended up, we went to a convention, and I got around all these people, and all this excitement and this art tattoo energy, and saw all these tattoo artists doing all these amazing tattoos.
Different styles.
And it got me excited again. Like I couldn't wait to get a tattoo machine in my hand when I got home. So the next time that was kind of happening, I'm like, let's hit a convention.
Yeah.
I need some inspiration. I need to recharge my art batteries. And things like that really helped me a lot.
That's my favorite thing about a convention. That's like when the one here comes to town, I'm like, who's going? Like, I don't want to go and buy a booth and try to make money, and I'm not there for that.
Mhm.
I'm there to come around and see artists that I know or want to know or want to meet that I have met or haven't met, and it's a chance for me as well as the customer to be able to go and talk to them and
Yeah.
look at their work and you know, pick their brain a little bit here and there and you know and
be a
just
part of
and
it.
be a part of it.
Be a
It's
part
a
of the
growing
community.
experience
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah, it makes it kind of reminds you because we work in a shop like all artists do, and you kind of get on that
Absolutely.
little island, you know.
Yeah, you get plateaued.
With social networking and stuff. Some people use that as a tool to stay connected more than others, but usually what happens is you get kind of lonely on that island.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into a situation like that where you see all these other people enjoying what you enjoy and see how they're doing it and the excitement and the energy of it, it makes you kind of feel proud and good that you're a part, even if,
Yep.
you know, because we're all a very tiny part of it, but together that makes this incredible, you know,
Yeah. Now you're not just a
coalition.
star in the
Yeah,
sky. You're
yeah,
actually part of
yeah.
the Milky Way.
Yeah.
It's the difference between being in high school. I've noticed this with a lot of people I knew that were like really excelled in high school. You know, just great students, whatever, and then they go to college and like dropped out in like 3 semesters
Yeah.
You're no
because
longer a big
they
fish in a
couldn't
little pond.
handle that challenge.
hmm
And that's what a convention is to a
Horizons
large
of
degree. At least they
activity.
used to be. I don't know about the ones now.
I think the only
It's a 50-50. There's some good ones and there's
Yeah.
some, you know, over commercialized ones.
Yeah, that are just basically reality TV show
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
what are you talking about? Artists, tattoo artists?
Conventions.
convention.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like anything else, you know. Concert promoters or anything else. Some, you know, you could have the same bands, but they promoted it like crap. They didn't have parking right. They don't have enough people to take care of this, so the show sucks. You know, or you got the people that do it right, even though they're doing the same thing. I guess.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, you
whatever.
had the same bands, but it was hosted right. It was enough
Yeah.
parking. It was enough people, beer trucks. It was enough.
There was enough
food.
water.
Yeah,
Right.
There was enough water.
There was a fire started because of it.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
there's
yeah.
so. But basically, there's jerk offs in every profession.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Everything
there
gets
always
watered down, you know.
Yeah, insecurity's a
That's-
bitch.
is. So how did tattooing? How do you think that changed what way your life went?
Like I said, man, I would probably have stayed in the adult entertainment industry and.
You've been that creepy old guy at the club. Then.
Well, not so much. I'm a DJ, so you don't see me. I'm up in the booth. But it would have allowed me to stay in more contact and afforded more
Opportunities.
negative opportunities for my lifestyle and
You
the
would
way
have been
that I did
surrounded.
things.
You've been surrounded with more people with more bad ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would have been easier to succumb to, you know, to my demons, so to speak.
What about you, Jack?
I got interested in tattooing like in high school.
Yeah.
I never even thought about the word tattoo or even considered getting one or anything until a buddy of mine mentioned getting one. And that just totally took me for a loop. I can remember it like it was yesterday, like how I felt and kind of the switch that clicked in my head going, oh yeah, that's a thing. That'd be kind of cool. And I also was lucky enough to grow up with a mom and a dad for most of my childhood, and my father had a career. So to me, okay, when you're an adult, you pick a job and you do that job. You don't jump around like you're in high school getting part-time jobs to, you know, buy cigarettes or whatever. So I had that mentality kind of built in, but I knew I didn't want to go to college. I just didn't, it was really hard for me to sit in class like that. But I knew I wanted to do something artistic. And when my friend brought up that tattooing thing and I finally got one shortly after, it clicked. I'm like, well, that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be when I grow up. That's who I'm going to be.
Awesome, man.
You know, my dad was a cop. My dad is, it's just who he is. It's what he is. So it really it checked off a lot of those boxes. And on top of that, you know, you can make a living if you're good, if you do it right. So, I mean, I'm like, that was just 100% of my focus was, you know, getting that. So if tattooing if my friend hadn't mentioned the word tattoo on that one day, or I think I would be doing something in the, you know, art field as far as with cars or motorcycles, customizing paint, letter sign painting, you know, just something tactile and something, you know, messy, you know, something like that. And my father did a lot of that on the side. That's, I think, where I get any kind of pension or any kind of why I want to do art. So, and he did a lot of that. So again, I think growing up and seeing, okay, this is what a man does,
Yeah.
and wanting to emulate that, I just knew I didn't want a desk job. Because I'm like, it reminded me, I'm like, so basically, you go to school, and then you graduate, and then you go back and sit at a desk at your job.
Yeah, you're still in school.
To
that
me,
sucks.
that sounded so insane.
It's
Like,
horrible.
it made me feel so weird and singled out. I'm like, because everybody else doesn't seem to have
Come
a
on.
problem with
Yeah,
this.
they're okay with it. That
You know?
sucks.
Well, as somebody who worked even crappier jobs than working at a desk, working at a desk was not that bad.
Well, that's
By
because you've been
comparison to-
scrubbing dishes or sweeping floors before that. Yeah.
so-
Sitting and doing worksheets, which is basically a desk job. You're sitting there and you're doing a worksheet.
You're in
You're
school.
filling out
No, I was on the
some
phone
sort
the
of
whole
paper,
time.
or
Yeah.
you're doing work, an
I'll never
assignment.
have to do that stuff.
I'm like, no, I'm a grown up. I don't
Yeah.
sit at a desk and do paper stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Numbers?
it just did not.
Nope.
And
Did
see,
not
that's what
compute.
that's what school was trying to prepare you to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I wasn't going to do
Yeah,
that.
and
so.
and that's why I think I felt alone, or kind of like I wasn't getting it when everybody else was, because that just wasn't a viable thing.
I went to vocational school once I got into high school, though.
I did some of that.
Yeah.
Regular school wasn't for me.
But that's really the only way I graduated was
Yeah,
my
me
last
too.
2 years. I went to a tech high school half
Me
the
too.
day and studied commercial art
Yeah.
because I thought, okay, that's
Didn't
art.
have
It's a real
something,
job, you know,
Yeah, it's
and all
something.
that. But after 2 years of it, I'm like, nope, it's a
This
desk
isn't what I
job.
want to do either. Yeah.
It's a desk job. I have an assignment that I'm sitting at this desk,
You have to do.
and it was just very linear. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't very third eye, and if it was like an IBM third eye. It
You're going to
wasn't
be an
an
artist,
organic.
but you're only going to do it in this box that we're giving you.
Kinda. It wasn't.
There's only one good way to do this.
There wasn't
Right.
enough
That
fantasy
mentality.
or creativeness in it. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
get super crazy.
Yeah.
You know, where
No
this
creative
job,
license.
you're challenged to be as crazy as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the tickle that I
Yes.
get from doing. You know, that's the what I need to make me do it again. You know, like
Yeah, that's that intrigue, that mystery that you're always chasing.
it's that reward you get from
Yeah.
your brain that makes you do another hit. You know,
Right.
that's
Yeah, it really
my
is.
hit I get, or the buzz I get from doing it. And
Yeah.
there was just doing that type of work would not have done it. I just would have been miserable, I think.
And I think that's why, like, looking back, a lot of us, like me, Brent, we fell into, okay, well, I'm a titty bar DJ. Okay, great. Yeah, life is great. I make a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
work
money.
at a
I'm
porno
around women.
theater.
Awesome.
I did that.
Well, I'm not being challenged. So
Yeah.
now what do I do with all this extra creative, built up time?
Yeah.
Like, now what do I do? Well, in my time off, I get in trouble because I have nothing else to do. No other outlet, like,
Alcohol. That was
drugs,
me.
alcohol, women, whatever your weakness is or your vice is, that's what you'll quickly fall into.
Right. And, you know, and don't think that doesn't happen with a lot of tattooers.
Oh, no, it does.
Oh, it does.
It really, really does. It's a lot of the, at least, you know, back in the day, when I was kind of just getting started, man, I remember telling myself, man, if I can make $100 a day,
Yep.
Yep.
That's the goal.
that's all I need. Like, I'm
Yeah.
totally fine. And that, after a little while, I'm like, I only made a freaking $100 today.
Yep.
Yeah. You're like, I'm
You know?
sorry. Yeah.
So it's really kind of you know, crazy.
Well, it goes back to one of our other episodes where we're talking about how it affected your, like, your personal life.
Yeah.
And that's where those
The
vices
last
come in.
one.
Like, you feel like you're not fulfilling this or your needs to your significant other or your
Right.
job or your crew or and people seek consolement in other
Yeah.
ways. And, they turn to, like, I'll go to the bar and drink and them guys will tell me how great I am and that'll fill that void that I'm not fulfilling.
And you have that,
there's a lot of pitfalls.
and you have that disposable cash income usually,
Yeah.
depending.
That's going to be replaced because you believe it's going to be.
Well, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to make just as much money as I made yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
we used to call it stripper mentality.
Yeah.
Oh,
I made $5,000
my
a
mother
night.
called
Yeah,
it
well,
Irish rich.
Irish rich.
Yep.
Rich for the night.
You're going to
Yep.
spend all that money, right? That whole paycheck.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm going to borrow some from you.
Yep. If I made $5,000 a day, I'm going to live like I'm going to make $5,000 every day from here on out.
Because that's the way it's going to be.
Even though that's not feasible.
And these are people that went to school when they still taught you economics and taught you,
Yeah.
like, okay,
Oh,
dummy,
totally.
save this much,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
totally
know,
had those classes.
budget
Now for personal
this,
finance.
do all that, and
And
still,
that's where
you know,
I know better. They've never experienced it like me. Comes in and like I can do this without no,
I'm
no, you
different.
can't.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
gonna fail differently.
Right.
But there even on my absolute worst day at the shop, I feel lucky as, I mean, when people ask how you doing, and I say better than I deserve, I kind of mean it, because I would have never thought that I could be lucky enough to produce art that I enjoy, and I can make a living.
Likewise,
I make a living for it. I'm not ever going to get rich ever.
Yeah, I don't care to be.
And I would rather be doing this and doing how I'm doing for the rest of my life than not be able to do this and have more money than I could spend.
Absolutely, I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it for that.
Never.
Yeah.
Me and you actually were on vacation one time, and we were sitting around, and man, it was we were in Sturgis, I think. It was just we rode motorcycles. It was beautiful. The weather was perfect. We had a couple beers. Like everything was just, you couldn't have made it any better if you'd have written it out for a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting there and we're chilling, and I remember looking at you and going, this is a great vacation. It's probably one of our best ones. But I would take a bad day of tattooing over the best time of my life any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because it's that rewarding and awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Yeah. You're still just because today didn't go right. Your customer, you maybe couldn't. You thought you had it figured out, and they, and I still keep that in perspective.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
But you're making a living doing something that there's nothing else in the world that you'd rather do.
Well, it's like when Paul Gray, and I probably brought this up before, would call me up and go, this is of Slipknot, and he'd complain about, like, I had to get up at 5:30 to do a video shoot, and blah, 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 and the catering sucked, and I'd be like, you didn't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning and go pour concrete, and I did you.
Right.
And like, that's why I call you when I feel like this, because you always
you're
put
right.
perspective.
I don't.
you need that grounder.
Yeah, I don't forget those days where, I would come in and it might be 2-3 days before you do a tattoo.
Yeah, when we were playing this.
So when I'm swamped or I'm really booked out or whatever, I always remember that. Well, would you rather be sitting doing nothing?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have more work than you can handle?
Would you rather have homework every night, or would you rather be playing video games?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
so
rather have homework.
I think about that daily.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing
Absolutely.
to have that work.
Yeah.
Well, because all of us have been doing it long enough to where all of us remember
Mhm.
being at home going, man, I've worked for the last 3 days and I haven't done a tattoo.
Yep.
If I don't do a tattoo in the next 2 days that I have to work this week,
Ramen's running out.
I'm at a ramen and like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
What am I going to really do? Like, I really need a tattoo
Mm-hmm.
to come in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. They talk about there being parallel universes and alternate reality kind of things, and every possible scenario is happening somewhere. And it would be I'm as curious as anybody to know what would have happened to me if tattooing wouldn't have come into my view. Because when I got into it, it was nothing. It was still underground. It was still nobody had them.
A lot of people kind of looked down their nose at the idea.
At most everybody.
What was? I can't think of the word. It was very offset. It was very off-putting kind of to do. It was
You were signaling.
You were
that's what
lower
it was
rung
obscure.
of society kind of thing.
Yeah.
It marked you as an outsider.
Yeah, the only people
Yeah.
that did it at the time were outlaw motorcycle clubs, people that were sailors, like hard time, old school, like
Yeah.
grandpa
Military
time
people.
sailors.
And I didn't have
military people, or prison.
And there was no one in my family that
and
was
rock-
tattooed.
and rock.
Yeah, and rock and roll. Yeah, but even the rock and rollists back when we were young, like the Bon Jovis and like Axl Rose, he had like 2 or 3 tattoos.
Yeah.
Back then, like they weren't overly like they had
No.
tattoos and I gravitated to
I
it.
think
But they
that-
weren't overly heavily tattooed.
No.
Probably the heaviest tattooed person I'd seen prior to getting into getting out there and actually seeing things. Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, and
Right,
he's not, if
nobody-
you look at him now, he's still not really heavily tattooed.
It's mostly
No.
stuff that is on his back and etc. Like you
Chest,
did
back,
not see
arm,
people that
knuckles.
had that, and
No.
I don't think anybody was aware he even had that until he did the solo stuff
Where he had his
and
shirt
started
off.
taking his shirt
Yeah.
off.
So yeah, it wasn't like shoved in your face back then.
No,
so
not at all.
So it could have been really easy for it to not
Dissipate.
come into
Yeah.
my,
Yeah.
Now getting into the late 90s, early 2000s, it kind of started,
Yeah,
it
it moved from being like a
basketball.
sideshow act.
Well, what
Yeah,
happened?
you saw basketball players a little bit more and famous people, and they started to, get a little more popular. So what would I have been doing if it kind of dawned on me? I just, I wonder.
Well, about that era, they started doing like fake tattoo, like the George Clooney, Dust Till Dawn.
Yeah.
He's not actually tattooed like that, but like
but he
him
plays a
on
criminal.
film, that with that tattoo that goes from his hand
Yeah,
to his neck, even when he's wearing the suit, you can still see those parts of it. It's still that risque, dangerous, like,
Yeah.
this is a big time, Hollywood actor. And like, I know it's not real, but if he had that, he could still work and pull that off. That's, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that attraction started, with the public, I think. around
Yeah.
that time.
Well, part of it is that the whole alternative underground culture became mainstream
Right.
in the 1990s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It pulled it into
If
it.
And
there's
unless
a big flip.
There was a huge flip
Yes.
from one day you're turning on MTV or going to the mall and you're hearing Michael Jackson nonstop, and then the next day you're hearing Nirvana
Yeah.
and Smashing Pumpkins
Right,
and
Iron Maiden and all this stuff.
all this stuff that
The
you
pop
normally
stuff.
would not hear
Oh, yeah.
anywhere.
And
Yeah.
it's
Rock music, basically.
and the thing with tattoos, I think that's making it. It wasn't just, it didn't pop up and then go away. It's just really steadily, climbing, and really a part of our culture now. It's not a pair of jeans.
No.
It's, you get it, and not only do you love it and you have it forever, but there's something in the human brain that makes you want another one.
Right.
So now that it's crept into mainstream culture where you're more weird if you don't have one than you do,
Yeah.
then there's barely a kid on the planet that grows up and their parents don't have a tattoo.
Yeah, right.
And just like every kid, you emulate.
Yeah.
You see, okay, that's what my mom and dad does, that's what you do.
Absolutely.
So you're going to get a tattoo. And it's going to be there forever.
Yep.
And you're going to fall in love with it and get more. And then you're going to have kids. And then
They're
they're going
gonna
to see
see
mom and dad tattooed.
And Dom Denver
So-
people on the planet, so I want to be like them.
It's
Yeah,
wrapped
totally.
into our mainstream
It's
culture
becoming
now.
part of the DNA.
Makes me
Yeah.
wonder if there's ever going to be a day where there's like a counterculture that's all like,
Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
Always.
Absolutely.
It
There
always
is.
has to be. That's
They're
what
called-
yin and yang is. It has to be a.
They're called fundamental Christians.
Eh,
I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
Maybe.
But there
just
always
kidding.
has to be an opposite to make something desirable or interesting. Because there's got to be an equal amount of people that don't find it.
Yeah, and just like with the big flip, you have people that don't like stuff just because people they don't like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's just like the Christians, back in the 80s, they were all goody goody two shoes, take the bad words out of that song, you kids can't have that, that's offensive, don't say it, and now it's completely flipped.
Right.
Now the people that were being all crazy and saying F this and screw that, oh no, you can't say that hurts feelings, and
Yeah.
oh no,
Yeah,
don't
it's
give
nuts.
that to them, and oh blah blah blah. So
that's
it may happen with tattoos, but like I said, the cool thing with tattoos is once you get one,
It's
you're in the
there.
club.
You're
Yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
You're
We're the only
you know.
people though that because we have people that get a lot of tattoos that don't tattoo. They're collectors.
Yeah.
I refer to them.
I'm both.
We're the only genre that you can collect something that you can't trade it or sell it.
Right.
Or you know what I mean? Like it's
a part of you.
Yeah,
It's
you
part-
own it forever.
Yeah.
Well, in a
Which
way,
is
it just
interesting.
kind of dawned on me. I'm like, I bet a lot of the people, at least for a long time, I bet you could ask them, do you have a piece of art that you've paid more for than your tattoo?
No.
Right? Like a lot of people that
Because it's tangible. It can be lost. It can be
maybe
burned up in a fire or
but
sold.
but
or
at the
stolen.
same time, in my mind, it makes them just as much of a art fan or collector
Well,
or
yeah,
whatever
sure.
as someone who would
Totally.
go spend
Oh, yeah.
$800 on a painting.
Totally.
Well, I spent $800 on this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
you got thousands of dollars in tattoos on you. You're as much a hardcore collector as anybody that goes to say the Louvre, for,
Right.
for an
Yeah.
auction of some super famous obscure painting.
yeah.
I've got one that not only is it thousands of dollars, but nobody can steal it from me.
Right.
It can't
Yeah.
be lost. A girlfriend can't steal it when she breaks up with me.
And that's part of the reason
Yeah.
You're not
it's
gonna
so.
have to divide
I can't
it
sell
up
it for
and sell
drugs.
it.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's
It's
that's what
there.
stitches it in tighter to
Yeah.
our culture is because
Absolutely.
of that. It's not a pair of jeans that you really don't fit anymore, and they kind of go out of style or
That's
whatever.
one of the only things in our lives that you can buy or purchase and keep it until you're done in
Yeah.
this life.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's nothing else on this planet.
Which scares
that
the
you can do
shit out of some people.
Some people.
And that's why they don't want,
Right, right, true.
Yeah,
Because they're
but
indecisive or
But it's a
whatever.
huge
Yeah.
appeal to some of us that, like, a lot of people I know, especially like me and my friends, we grew up kind of poor, and at any time, even as good as you were doing, you could lose it.
oh yeah,
It could be
Always.
taken away from you. And like tattoos are the one thing that couldn't. no matter how low I get, no matter how bad things get, no matter how crazy it gets, you can't take my tattoos from me.
Yeah.
These are mine.
There's really nothing like it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, even you know, you buy some boobs, you can get those taken out.
Yeah.
You know, it's really one of those things that it's probably second to only like having a child. You know,
Well, I mean,
because
there's
there's
nothing
nothing.
tragically
get
that
rid
could be
of those
taken
too.
from you.
There's nothing. Well, right, but there's nothing. I guess that kind of locks you into
Right.
a set of
Yeah.
rules or
Yeah, true.
behavior. And more than that, other than like I said, second to that is probably getting a tattoo.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's
And
very
it's-
unique.
Yeah,
You can't even go out and have a horrific car crash and lose your tattoo in it.
Well, unless you lose the whole limb.
Well, unless you lose the limb or something. Like that. You know what I mean? But
no,
like,
but yeah.
yeah, it's not. You're not going to wake up like with all your limbs and stuff going. Well, I used to be sleeved.
So until the
Oh, yeah.
government makes it illegal, which who knows,
God, I hope they never do.
it will be stitched in, no pun intended, into our.
Even if they do, it'll
Society.
be underground, like it used to.
Yeah,
be.
it just
Still be
drives.
Well,
me.
When it was illegal,
they always create jobs that way.
Yeah.
They create a
Yeah.
they
market.
create a whole economy and community. You know,
Yeah,
when they
so-
do that. So whatever. We
People-
always expand. No
people.
matter what.
People are going to be people.
Cockroach forever.
Yeah. So what about you, Dave? You've been in the
Oh, Lord.
piercing game
Um,
forever.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, at a young age, for some reason, I had a desire to have piercings. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it is, and that's part of it. And I've often thought about this one, and a lot actually during the period of time leading up to me actually becoming a professional, is as a young man coming of age in America in a huge, just massive economic downturn, and basically all the jobs my parents' generation had totally vanishing. There was no foundation to really build on as far as like, let's go get a career. And everybody was telling you to go to college, and I tried that. And my time in college was all about people going, well, if you want this job, you got to wear a 3-piece suit every day, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do this. And it's like none of that appealed to me in any way, shape, or form. And it seemed everything about what I wanted to do, which at the time was computer engineering and et cetera, was I want to create things. That's why I want to do this, is to create new things. And their whole thing was, oh, yeah, you're going to spend 20 years drawing the stuff up for Joe. I mean, it was just like they just browbeat me into not wanting to do it anymore. So I was already looking for like a creative outlook before that. But I mean, another thing, I'm getting off of the subject already because I haven't really thought that much about this in a long time, was I just got to a point where I'm just like, the whole world's been explored. There's no new frontier to go to. Music at that point in time, I was really into punk rock, of course, and I still am to a large degree, but I felt like it had ran its course and nothing had really replaced it. And that's my own personal opinion. I don't want to have a big debate over that one, but it'd gone as far as it could. And to me, it was like doing stuff with my own body, piercing, tattooing, changing the way I looked physically, permanently, was like a new way of exploring the world and exploring life. So I started getting tattooed, and one of the things I loved about the tattooing was the commitment to it and the permanency of it and how I was changing the way I looked. And everybody telling me I shouldn't do that, and me responding, as my father once said a number of times to me, the first word you ever said was why, and then you just continue to say that for the next 20 years. It's like, why not? Why can't I do this? And then when I started getting into piercing and I started researching because I wanted to get it done, and there was just no accessibility for it where I was at. And I've always had, that's the other thing, is I've always had this attitude of, I'm not going to move to a big city to discover myself. I am here. I am rooted here. If I can do it here, I can do it anywhere. I don't care about going off to some coastal city and reinventing myself. So to me, having that accessibility here and creating that accessibility and helping build up two things I love, tattooing and piercing in the process, was very important and something I was very focused on. And along with that, live music and etc. So it all kind of rolled in and was hand in hand. So when I was eventually given the opportunity to pierce, of course everybody around me is like, why do you want to do that? You'll never make any money at it. And it's like,
It's not the point.
why wouldn't I want to do this? What I'm going to work, because at the time I was working in third-party collections, I was making pretty decent money, but I was miserable. I would drink constantly. Got into, I mean, every night after I got off work, it was drinking and then fighting or finding something else to do. And it's like, and yes, a lot of that stuff put me just shy of jail.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, and it was a destructive. It was partly the people I was hanging out with, but it was a pattern of self-destruction.
Well, and I think what it's like a lot why tattooing has stuck with me for so long, and I still love it. It still gives me that high. I still get that buzz from it, you know. And luckily, it's only gotten better.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's, you know, probably what happened with you as well. You know, there's nothing else that you could think of doing that would give you the feeling you get from doing that.
Oh, no.
Satisfaction.
You know, and
plus piercing has always opened up other opportunities that I may not have had. Like, for example, I booked bands off and on for years. I was involved in bands. I managed bands. The YouTube thing, a lot of that comes down to me having the accessibility to you guys and the accessibility to the studio and this knowledge to share. And I don't know if I would have been able to do that if I was working a collections job, making massive amounts of money. I'd probably be managing by now.
If you hadn't drank yourself to death.
Yeah, if I hadn't drank myself to death or ended up in jail over some bullshit.
As the conventions, as we said, like kind of reinvigorate us.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, what is your thing to kind of recharge?
It's weird because with me, it's seeing some new. A lot of it comes down to jewelry.
oh yeah, I can see how that would inspire you.
It's like I'll get pieces and I don't know if you guys have caught me, but I'll go and I'll stare at the case from time to time.
Yeah. I see you do it all the time. And I'm like, that's so awesome, dude.
And part of it is I'm just trying to, you know, part of it's my marketing brain going, oh, this might sell a little bit better, so you know, that kind of crap. But at the same time, I'm looking at this stuff and going, I wonder what that's going to look like there, or maybe that would shift there. And that's been a lot of it. And a lot of it is just clients.
That's cool.
If I couldn't interact with people every single day, I would have no, because I don't like going out anymore.
Yeah.
Because I realized at some point the only reason I ever went out was to get laid.
Yeah.
And to see bands.
Or like to be seen.
Yeah, you know, to be a face. And it's like, and I still enjoy going out and everything, and I still meet people, but there's something about taking somebody through that process, and I'm addicted to that process of helping people through it, and educating them, and teaching them new stuff.
Yeah.
And hey, you know, this is why this works. And throwing facts at them that they didn't even think they were going to learn about while they were there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of metal allergy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some weird fact that I have stored up in the back of my head that came up for no apparent reason, or a long discussion about what they are passionate about.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't get that. I wouldn't get, because most of the people, not all of them, but a lot of the people we interact with, if we were just working a factory job, we would never come in contact with these people. Because we are kind of this, our front door opens to like every culture, every ethnic group, every financial group, you know, level, everybody.
Yeah.
Very diverse.
It's very diverse and interesting and constantly changing.
Yeah. I've tattooed the gangsters, the city workers, to, you know, Ted Nugent's guitar tech, to you've tattooed the Slipknot guys, like. And we've tattooed every avenue.
The Slipknot guys. I pierced a couple different bands.
Yeah, but you've even tattooed like the lowest, I guess, form of society.
Oh,
you've been exposed to that, all the way up to this like the top of the echelon of like who, you know, is this rock stars.
It's very lucky.
Dude, and I would have
politicians
never.
And everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would have never been exposed to. No. I'd say 90% or more.
And see, that's what a good
people. If I'd have been digging ditches.
And to me, that's a good life.
It's awesome.
And it's going to allow you to have a different view of life in general if you're constantly being exposed.
Yeah. I'm way
like I
luckier than I
said,
deserve.
it all goes back to that exploring. I want to see how far I can push this. I want to see how far I can do this.
How far can I go with it?
Yes.
You know?
And it gives you a good, I think, perspective on people in general.
Yeah,
because you do meet so many different types of people and different professions and from different parts of the world and all that stuff. So it's really, really neat.
And it's given me a lot of empathy for people that maybe I would have not necessarily had empathy.
Yeah, it helps you understand.
Yeah, totally.
And see their perspective on things.
Even drug addiction and stuff that I never wanted to be around.
From the bad to the good, man. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, it is really
It's given me a new outlook on life in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and they're trapped with us for hours at a time.
Yeah.
Me about half an hour.
So we can just pick up pieces and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
So-
they're
Right.
stuck there in the chair,
Yeah.
interrogated,
At some
and you're
point, I
torturing
think-
them slightly.
Right.
I think we should at some point like get like one of those associate little like psychology degrees or something like for the mail.
How
Right,
does this
right.
make you feel?
I mean, because like you're like a therapist to a lot of people sometimes.
Yeah.
Because and that's
Yeah.
empowering. Because there's people that I've that I've
Yeah.
pierced that or just got done having cancer treatment.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
That,
saying.
and you
Some
guys see the
people
same
just
with
want to
Jack
bend
Lowe.
an ear,
Yeah.
They just want to vent something out to somebody,
Right.
just whether it's an experience or just how they're feeling. Yeah. They
Well, yeah,
just
you're
wanna
helping
talk.
people
Have
through either
somebody
super
listen.
Yeah,
high triumphant part of time of their life,
they've just gotten divorced.
or maybe they've lost a loved one. You're
They've
helping them
lost
through
a-
that. You're
you-
helping, like it's really cool and it's very honoring
I've had
It is.
to be made part of that of somebody's life because it's
Yeah.
something that's substantial and they're going to carry it with them.
And I've helped
You
people,
know?
I've done genital piercings on women that are just getting through the whole process of really coming to terms with being assaulted and how empowering they feel afterwards. And when they go up there
Yeah,
and they
man.
look it in the mirror and they go, yes, this
That's
is
a
my
very
body.
rewarding feeling. That's my buzz. That's my addiction to it.
I own this.
Like I participated in some aspect of somebody else's life that I have never laid eyes on before.
Yeah.
But for the rest of their life, every time they look down, they're going to remember something to me.
Yeah.
I participated.
And
That's
see,
pretty cool.
And it was funny the other day because I don't remember which piercing we were doing, and the lady went up and just got the biggest smile on her face. And I jokingly said to her, "Yeah, I don't pierce anything. I just create smiles."
Yeah, right.
All day. And you know what I'm talking about when they go
Sure.
over the mirror
Absolutely.
and then they
When they
can't
light
stop
up.
looking at it.
Yeah, dude.
Because I'll be like, I gotta get by here.
It's the best feeling
Yeah.
that you can experience.
That's really
It really is.
It really is.
the most important thing. Really, it's the most important thing. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really what
Yeah, man.
I work for.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
we're making people's dreams come true.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Oh.
achieve that idea or that vision that you have of yourself. I'm trying to do the best I can to help you get there.
Yeah.
And when I see that reaction in your mirror, like,
Nailed it.
thank you,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the ones that are like very melancholy and they don't mean to be. It's just their personality, and they go
Yeah,
up and they're
they're
like,
just not
"You've
happy
killed
with
it," but they go up and they go, "Yeah, man, it's cool."
That's
Is
close.
there
You're gonna
something
get to
else
the
you were
smile.
thinking that it needed, or did we miss a mark? You get real like
Yeah, I know.
second
It's
guessing
that
yourself
drum,
sometimes.
it's that
that's
drum
crazy.
roll period when you can't see exactly what the
Yeah.
expression is on their face. Yeah, I get it.
It's like, I think, it might be like they go, they're thinking, well, it looks fucking killer.
Well, I
Yeah.
came to you because you were gonna kill it.
And I expected it to be
Yeah.
killer, and it's
Exactly.
killer. Like,
Yep,
okay,
you did it.
yeah,
We still want to know.
But I mean, we don't know for sure
Yeah.
until you say
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
We need reassurance. We're very fragile individuals.
Well, you talk about
Well,
insecurity.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Well, and
An
because
artist against his art is the most insecure being on the planet, in my opinion.
Oh, that's great, but
yeah, right. You
I
could
really
have
like
told
that
me that
talent.
5 hours
years
ago.
ago, yeah, you didn't want a rook. You wanted a trachis. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know when I came in, I said I wanted a dragon.
Yeah.
And so, like, for a week, I've been telling you about dragons and sending you pictures and having you draw dragons. Now that I'm hearing you drew this you drew an amazing dragon. It's better than anything I could ever have dreamed of. I'm really leaning more towards a flower. Like,
Dragon lilies.
right, like, okay. Like flowers around the dragon, right? Like, no, just flowers. Like,
You talked to me a little too quick the first time.
yeah.
Yeah. And I know, I kind of had that happen with my very first tattoo that I had to set up an appointment for and go in. I kind of fell into that because I had to wait, a little while to get in, and your mind starts going, well, I could get anything.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I could always get that some other time. Is there anything else and you
Yeah.
start screwing the whole thing up.
Right. Well,
So I kind of get it, but
That's where I went.
Your
from.
influences, your mind, everything. And like, if you got a 3 month out appointment, like in 3 months, think of all the things you're interacting with and experiencing and seeing.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm going to go get a tattoo in 3 months.
Yeah.
That's been moved to the forward of my mind. And now I'm thinking more. I'm focusing more on tattoos. Now I'm noticing everything I see on TV, every star, every picture, every internet,
And you
social
start
media.
recreating or
yeah, and
adding
you're like,
stuff.
well, I could really change this to. Oh, well, that would be super cool too. And like, it's total human
do all
nature,
that
dude. It's
first
cool.
and
Right.
then come talk to us.
Yeah, that's how I ended up.
Well, that's why you have more space.
I thought I was going to get one of the classic, like old school Panthers, and then I changed my mind and got this stupid political tattoo that I had covered up. It's like, yeah.
Always go with
The
your
funniest
first-
thing about it is there was somebody else that I knew that had the tattoo, and I didn't know they had the tattoo until afterwards. And I'm like a show, and I'm in the bar, that's all showing it off. And he walks up and he goes, "Oh, cool tattoo." And I'm like, and it was somebody I didn't.
I have clients that get that a lot. They're like, so I want a tattoo. I want flowers.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't want anything that anybody else has. All right.
You're not going to have.
We've been
anything anybody
tattooing each
else
other
has.
since caveman days.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
The chances of you coming up with something so unique that no other person on the planet has thought of it or going to get it or has done it is very, very slim.
And it's probably going to be a really terrible idea.
Especially when you want a daisy.
Well, when
This
you're looking-
this is what I tell them. Okay, let's say you do spend a lot of time and energy just making it different, so you're the only one with it. Okay, you're the only one on the planet. That doesn't mean you're going to be the last.
No, as soon as somebody sees it and it's awesome,
As
they're
soon
going
as
to copy
someone
it.
sees it, they're going to copy it.
Exactly. That's
So why take all that energy and time just to be different
Right.
when there's no payoff?
Right.
Why don't you get something you absolutely love that
you
you're going
love
to
it.
enjoy?
Yeah.
And because anybody's going to do whatever the fuck they want to
And
do.
who cares if other people enjoy it? Like, how flattering is it that they enjoyed, like, your idea?
But yeah,
Come on, man.
people do get hung up on that, and that's what I tell them. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you're going to be the last one,
No.
Well, I had a
And-
customer. that
and nobody's
was doing
going to
that.
care that you were the first.
And the tattoo she wanted, she had, like, all these pictures saved, like we tell them to do, which is great. But every picture was a picture of somebody else's tattoo or something. I was like, that's great, that's cool. I'm picking what you like out of these to make it. But, like, it was like, let's say it was flowers. I'm like, did you ever just, like, you wanted a daisy? Did you ever just go on Google and type in daisy and, like, look at actual photographs of real daisies? She went, I never thought of that. And I'm like, there you go. You know how
Yeah.
dude, everybody can copy it.
It doesn't have to
But
be
Mother Nature did it better than
tattooed
any of us,
already.
hands down. Than we're ever going to hope to duplicate it. So,
Yeah.
like, use that as your starting point and build off of it.
Really,
you can't go
See,
wrong.
here's the important lesson. The important lesson. Yeah.
Spit it out, man.
I went Bowery Boys there for a second. Reference no one will get. That I learned from that is it's better to be yourself than to be
Yes.
different. Because what made me change my mind was a bunch of people giving me crap about.
Yeah,
Oh, you're just
they're
gonna
chick- they're making up your mind
Oh,
for you.
Panther
Exactly,
thing
they're
and blah
influencing
blah blah. And it's
Yeah.
like, if I would have just gone for the Panther, I'd probably still have it instead of
Right.
the ugly dragon I got to cover up the other tattoo.
Being
Right.
an individual outweighs,
Yeah, it's like-
being the only one or the first one or, whatever.
Just be yourself.
Yeah, just be you, man. Be true.
Trust
There's-
yourself
There's
occasionally.
nothing more
You can't go wrong.
personal.
Sometimes you can.
There's really nothing more personal and intimate than your tattoo.
Yeah, or your piercing.
You have to suffer for it.
Right.
You have to pay the price to get it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's there on you.
And you have to care for it.
So
nurture it.
When you're alone at night, you're the one that's got to be okay looking in the mirror at it, not them.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, people come and go. You
Right.
know that tattoo's going to be there forever.
Yep.
So if you're getting a tattoo on you to appease someone other than yourself, there's a point to where that tattoo
It's
you're
not
going to
gonna be
regret
that.
it.
You're gonna
Yep,
absolutely
exactly.
hate
Good
it.
idea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
I
Yeah.
think we covered this
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah, and then some.
Thanks for
Just
listening
talking
to us.
like the Bowery Boys.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Bad boy audio. I'll create
Boy,
the
audio.
bodies. I don't know, right?
Slobbies.
That's copyrighted. Now we're
Yo, no. Next we'll have to talk about pig farm.
no monologues. We talked about this, Jimmy.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, Snatch. We love your movie.
Yes. And then he made those other ones.
Hey.
Let's
Anyway.
wrap it up.
I like all his movies. Wrap it up.
Getting out of here.
Yeah, the one with. Never mind. The one with the
another
lighthouse
episode,
or
David.
whatever. That was.
That's another day. That's another
Oh,
episode.
The ass to ass.
That's another
No,
episode.
that he didn't
Requiem
do
and
that.
Dream. He didn't do that one.
That's a Shelley book.
Love that.
He's in that movie.
Well, that scene.
The author of that book is actually in the movie. He's the one that's pushing. That's the sheriff yelling at him about pushing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you junkie.
Another episode. Stay tuned. And we'll
Ass
cover
to
it.
ass.
Well, if you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up. Please share it. Give us a like. Let us know that you liked it, because we like it when you like it. Is subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every single time we post a new video. If you're listening to this, just subscribe right where you're at, because we're going to keep sending it there. And I think we're on everything, including Amazon now.
Woohoo!
And heroin.
No.
No.
I'm the only. Okay.
You're the only one.
Whatever. Work for me.
iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're on all
no
of them.
no iHeroin.
Oh, I thought you
No,
said
I
heroin. I was
It was the
on-
Reculum message.
We're on all those and heroin.
And heroin.
You know the name
I was like, yeah. There's
Say
this
that-
band from Chicago that was
Say that
part of their liner notes is
Say goodbye.
weed and drawers, it includes heroin.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, yeah, the next thing it'd be is my
Bye.
merch.
Goodbye.
Until next time,
Bye.
here's hoping that all your tattoos and piercings go with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we hope to see you for your body piercing and tattooing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. Thank you for watching and
Thanks,
listening.
guys. Be good.
Bye.